afternoon. My name is Kirsty Dignam, and that's the ice cream lorry in the background. Yeah. Remember to have some fun this week. No matter what happens, remember to have some fun and to recognise the things that call to the memories within us that we may not have held space for or given enough time to. My name is Kirsty Dignam, and I'm here to look at the energies this week and how to best navigate them with what will be externally the Monday's Musings, but is actually being recorded on the 25th of July 2026. The reason being, several reasons actually, now feels like the right time, which is what I'm going to get back to in a moment. It seems to be an emphasis throughout the next, not just 7 days, but the next latter part of the year. Time and divine timing, and looking at where we may be putting off tomorrow what could be done now and why. Going back to really appreciating the memories that are coming up, really appreciating what is being reborn, regifted within us inside what we are experiencing. The other reason is this is where I am right now. The time is right. I have a moment where I can connect to what is going on and share whatever wants to come through. We all do. You know, if we're blessed, those moments last 80, 90 years. For some, a lot less. For some, we get that one moment in time. I hear Whitney Houston, that one moment in time where we get to share something that is so profound. It will make a difference to not only us and those around us, but those to come. Which is, again, the potential that is available, has been, thank you, available since Jupiter went into Leo, since the day we were born, okay? That's why we're here, to make a difference. Now, that difference doesn't have to be earth-shattering and, you know, felt by millions. It can be, I've said it before, a smile in the street to a stranger, but to make a difference as often as we can, not by doing something that we're not, but by simply being who we are, making the most of whatever we have to offer. Which is the other reason why this video is being done now. Lastly, actually there's a million reasons why we can do something when we do it and how we do it, right? I'm just seeing all the steps that have played out to this point and how relevant they all are, how they are lacking in appreciation by us all on one level or another. You know, how often we can overthink what has happened without really embodying and accepting the wisdom within it, the return of ourselves within it. It took me all day today to get into why I was avoiding the video, why it didn't quite feel as if it was the right energy, acknowledging that time and energy are the same thing. So if something doesn't feel as if it's the right timing, what is really going on is it's not the aligned energy. Okay, so there's going to be a huge emphasis on time, and I can feel the energy that the vibration that kind of flips us round things. Don't get too frightened with that. There is going to be information that comes through that may not be as streamlined as we would like, as obvious, thank you, as we would like, but that doesn't mean because we can't control it or understand it, it isn't valuable. Feel it, go with it, see where it takes you, explore, have curiosity of your own consciousness this week and for the next, well, from this point on, right? Have some more curiosity and playfulness, Jupiter and Leo, playfulness with where your consciousness is trying to take you. There's going to be a big emphasis on time. With Saturn going into Aries on the 26th, so tomorrow, retrograding back into Aries, there's going to be a big emphasis on time, on our own identity, on the structure and discipline that needs to now come into play if we are going to shift things. Remember, that's what this year was always about. If we're going to shift things and change with things, there's going to be a big emphasis on time, and that's going to come across at first as a running out of time, not having enough time, waiting for the right time, all of these narratives that need to play themselves out. But underneath it all is the invitation to acknowledge that we are time keepers. Now, I'm not going to get too much into the trippiness of time travel, because there's a lot more to be understood than any of us give it credit for, and we are still as a species on the level of trying to understand things rather than feel them. And once we come more into the emotional knowledge of time travel, it will become clearer. And that's going to take, well, some time, some memory within ourselves. But to be timekeepers, to prioritize, to really look at things that have stood the test of time, the wisdom that we have gained, the person that we have become, not just the people that we were or would like to be in the moment itself, in action, acknowledging that when we are in action, everything slows down and everything is available and everything is possible. But more than that, to acknowledge as timekeepers, not only can we change the narrative that is coming and the one that has been from where we are, it isn't about time, it is about energy, it is about light. Our original clocks, yes, were made up from the sun. It is about light, it is about vibration, it is about frequency. And in that, is it Einstein that said time is relevant? In that, you may feel as if you don't have time for something. What you don't have is alignment to what you're trying to achieve. That's part of the invitation this week. Things are about to expand, and it may not come across that way. It may come across as if we're waiting. It may come across as quite frustrating. It may come across, particularly, I've just written the full moon blog for the 29th, which is out on Audible now, and will be out next week. It may come across as if we're being held back almost. And it's going to be interesting to see how we manage that as a species, because underneath that is the level of trust that we do actually have in ourselves, in the environment, and the vision that we're trying to achieve or deliver. It may come across as if things are being taken away from us or out of our abilities, or whatever we're trying to manifest isn't quite happening. The invitation here is to look at where we've become quite fixed on what we think that is, to be more open, to recognize there are many ways to create something, and maybe, just maybe, we've become a little bit too blinkered with how that needs to be. Whether that's relationships, jobs, videos, information coming through and how we're going to interpret it, narratives that we've grown with, been brought up with, family, inherited expectations is going to be a real key one as well as we go into the energies this week. Where you are being held back can be an invitation to look at whether or not you're in alignment with what you want, and that can be something as simple with how you decide to create it. Maybe there's something you've always wanted to do, you know, pottery or drawing or horse riding, or, you know, a really out of what you would imagine job. Maybe there's something out there that's been calling to you and calling to you and calling to you that is asking to be born. Saturn in Aries is going to say, look at who you think you are. Who do you think you are? This that wants to be delivered through you now needs to be delivered through you. Get in alignment with it by looking at who you think you are, which was the energy of last week's video. So what has actually changed? Well, that will be a question we will be encouraged to ask ourselves. What has actually changed? It's going to be different for everybody. I can only give examples of where I'm at. The other reason that I'm not doing this video on Monday is because it's my Earth Day. It's my birthday and I'm having the day off. I'm actually going to receive a halo, my halo, which is a treatment at a head spa place where I'm having my head head checked. I'm having my scalp analysis. I'm having a massage of my head, and I'm also having my feet done. For those that know me, this is out of character. I don't tend to seek what I need elsewhere. I don't. I do my own healings. I do my own massages where I can, and you know, for the most part, that has served me very, very well. So what's changing for me, other than receiving a halo, other than getting a year older, is opening up to what is available to help me do that. Being more receptive. And aging another year, stepping into the 47, the 4 and the 7, or the 11 vibration, which is where we are all going to go collectively from January onwards. Now, I'm only just going into it, so I don't want to put too much expectation and assumptions into that, but it feels more expansive. next year, provided we can expand with it. Provided we can look at where we're holding ourselves back, however that may be. So for me, it is accepting help from others. It is accepting love from others. Really looking at, the Leo, I'm a Leo. The Leo is very generous, ensuring that we are just as generous to ourselves. Really looking at what we offer others is being received. Why is that important? If we don't know what we offer. We don't know how it feels. We don't know our own worth as a result. That can never be dictated by the external environment. It has to come from within. So lots and lots and lots changing this week. Lots and lots and lots shifting. My hands are in the triangle, which is going to make a lot of people go, oh, as I'm talking. Now, for me personally, the triangle is the masculine and the feminine, and it's to be of service. Okay, it's the triangle of fire that is on the chest of temperance. It is that transformation. Okay, and there is going to be a lot of that over the next, well, from this point on. It's not going to be over the next however long. From this moment on, okay, there needs to be a lot more in service to recognize what that means. Not just our own is valid as well, what we need in order to be of service, but to be in service, to walk the talk, to really understand whatever we're trying to create and what that wants from us, and to acknowledge that there is always, it's not a cost, it's a combined consciousness, which means we're going to feel what is being asked of us because we're part of it. So I know there's a lot of fires going on everywhere, right? And I know that on a surface level that is to do with our own energy and our own connection to the earth and the heat around us and climate change. And I know that a lot of us are feeling that, and this call to action, to acknowledge the call to action and how that actually is in the body. It can be very uncomfortable. It can be really worrying to feel. It can be very unnerving to be in that uncertainty. It can be very upsetting to see things and to hear things and to feel things. But that is the cost of consciousness. That is the cost of awareness. So what do you need in order to hold space and to witness that? That is expanding for us all. Not quite where I was planning on going. I'm aware that Instagram does cut out at 20 minutes. So is there anything else before we look at the energies this week? Yes, okay. When I picked up the cards that I'm going to use, which are the Sacred She Tarot by Madiva Padma, two cards fell out, the Five of Cups, and I can't remember what the other card was, but it was to do with how well we can cope with disappointment. How well we can understand that things are happening for our favour, not to us. We may not understand what that is, and all the time we're trying to rationally, logically explain it, we are not doing what we came here to do. We are distracting ourselves. We are procrastinating. We are having a humanitarian temper tantrum. That's what I can see, a temper tantrum. And there's no judgment there with that, but be aware of the energy that we're coming at something with. Be aware, particularly the situations that are triggered by time. They're not triggered by time, they're triggered by the energy that we're stood in. There's frustration there. I keep hearing the song Mother Knows Best from the Disney films, and there's frustration there. There is a disconnection from that truth as well, that our environment knows what it needs from us, whether we like that or not. Now that environment can be a relationship, a job, or the fires that are going on. It knows what we need, what it needs from us. The question is whether or not we are going to step up and provide that. Yes, okay, so the title for the full moon blog is What About the US? And this goes beyond America, although that will come up. This goes beyond the us and them, although that will come up. This goes beyond that all to the united service now, to what we are feeling, to what we are genuinely being asked to do about it. To be aware which part of us is being triggered and glimmered, which part of us is reacting. To acknowledge that at the end of the blog, I do say that any questions we ask work both ways. What about us? Well, what about us? You know, if we find that there's a gap in something, if we're getting frustrated with something, maybe we're being shown that for a reason. Maybe not, but explore what is going on for you. What about the United Service? What about what you're feeling? Why are you feeling it? What are you putting off? What are you gaining from putting that off? The vibration of the 11 year, thank you, it is scattered this week. The energy is scattered if we continue to try and figure things out. The vibration for the 11 year next year, 11 is a master number, no? It is also very reflective of the one. We are in the 1 year at the moment. We have the one and the one, which adds up to the high priestess, which is the two. And be aware not to get ahead of ourselves here, but to acknowledge first and foremost, before we run ahead with anything, before we try and manifest anything, what is being reflected as a result of our actions. This is basic stuff, but it isn't basic vibration. It is being treated as basic. It is being downplayed. It is incredible, incredible power that isn't being acknowledged for what it is. We are just tapping the surface, and the invitation this week is to go a bit further. I'm hoping to go to a wildlife sanctuary, maybe on my birthday, maybe not, in the New Forest, and they have 2 wolves that they've brought in. And all of a sudden, the moment I knew that they'd brought them in, there is this innate calling to be in their presence, to be in that energy of the wild. That is something that's going to come up as Aquarius goes into the North Node. Not our default, not what we would normally do, individually and collectively, but the unknown wild. That was the other card, thank you. Yes, uncertainty. Where has disappointment got in the way of the wisdom of uncertainty? Where has our expectation got in the way of the experience? I'm going to leave it there for those on Instagram. If you want to know how to best navigate the week ahead, pop on over to YouTube, and I advise you to subscribe on there, because that's where the videos go first, and it's the whole video. That or TikTok. Instagram limits me, so I can only give you 20 minutes, which may be all you need. Only you can decide, right? For those that are on YouTube or TikTok, or that have popped back over from Instagram as a result, let's look into the energies this week and how to best navigate them. I felt as if my cup was going to slip out of my hands there, like trying to hold on to something, like getting a grip, but my hands were too wet and too sweaty and too hot because of the temperature around me, but also the energy that's coming in. Recognizing that uncertainty can feel unsafe because we're doubting ourselves and our ability to hold what is going on. Okay, so acknowledge that. If you're feeling what is scared, yes, what is the word? Scared. If you're feeling scared about something, if you found yourself in fight or flight, which can come through in many different ways, okay, so remember that. Sense into the inner child, sense into the younger energy that is not sure of what is going on, that wants reassurance, and be that adult. Yes, we're disconnected from the earth sometimes, but we're also disconnected from the mother that we are, regardless of gender. You know, whether we are trying to create something, or whether we need that nurture or that reassurance or that safety or that love. We are all, on one level or another, disconnected from that at times in our life for reasons that are often beyond our own understanding as well. I was thinking about something today and acknowledge that things are quite multifaceted this week. So be aware of them, but keep coming back to why you wanted to be aware of them in the first place. I was thinking this week why I keep putting off looking after my health on a physical level, even though I know the stronger I get, the more I can do X, Y, and Z. Why would I keep putting off sport? I used to be really, really good at sport, and that's when it hit me. I used to be really, really good at sport, really good in that energy of strength and power and competition, training, professionalism, really, really good in those energies, whether it was horse riding, whether it was running. I used to run when I was at school, whether it was cricket, and every time I was at the top of my game, there would be something or someone that would bully me to come down. So on one innate level, every time I get to that point, yes, my body says this isn't safe. I wasn't even aware of that until this morning. Okay, and I'm 47 on Monday, so have some compassion with yourself for the things that are being made more obvious, and recognize that they're being made more obvious now because you're more able to hold space for them, more able to witness them, more grown up, shall we say, less in the situation or scenario. So now I know that when it comes to not wanting to exercise, I can think, okay, there is a reason for this. I'm not just being X, Y, and Z. However, if I don't exercise, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how many reasons I find or how much compassion I have. Sometimes the most compassionate thing can be having all the plethora of wisdom around you, but taking it forward in your actions. Okay, so we have underneath the Three of Pentacles, right? We have the refresh. My hands are covered in beetroot. My hands are covered in beetroot stain because I'm staining a drum hoop. Now this drum hoop, goodness me, for those that read my newsletters, they will know the journey I've been on with Sam the Skin. This drum hoop has taken me through initiation after initiation after initiation. The drum itself is yet to be born. And there's been a lot of plans to breath it on the Feast of Mary Magdalene because the drum hoop has gone from white to now red with beetroot juice. So I thought Mary Magdalene. Then there was a plan to birth it on my actual birthday, but I'm out getting my halo. My vibration is changing on many levels. Now, so far, the plan, I do believe, so far, is to birth it with the full moon in Aquarius, which is a humdinger. Yeah, it is a humdinger. There is no more mean or average. There is no more half-heartedness with this full moon in Aquarius. Obviously, it's on the Leo-Aquarius axis. At the same time, I do believe, I think it's Jupiter is doing there's a Kazemi. So Jupiter is going into the heart of the sun. Bear in mind, Jupiter is in Leo, which is the sun. We have this full moon Leo Aquarius axis. It's huge, expansive, and so far as I'm aware, that's the day that the drum wants to be born. Why do I share that? Well, one, because of the stains on my hands, the almost the blood on my hands, if you will, and under my fingernails from the beetroot. Two, the beetroot has to keep being put on because this drum needs to be grounding, really grounding for the energy that's coming in. So recognizing that in ourselves, if we want to finish these hoops, if we want to finish these cycles, to really tap into the energy that is available, but ground into it. Don't just tap into it for what you can get out of it. Embody it. Acknowledge that intuition isn't just a feeling. It isn't just a knowing. It's every single sensation in body. Take this to the next level now. Let's move beyond the psychic energy. There's nothing wrong with psychic energy. Yeah, you know, that's an initial doorway into what is possible, but take it to the next level. Embody this. Become the elders, the seers, the priests, the priestesses that you've always been. And that doesn't have to be with tarot cards or healing. You can be aware of something. You can feel something. What is being asked of you? Act on that if you're being asked to act on that. Be united in the service that you offer, not separate from, part of. Be in alignment with it. This goes beyond laws of attraction. You know, this goes beyond simple, and I will say simple manifestations of wish lists and things. You know, that's the first door. That is the first door. Are you embodying this? Are you making time for this? And by that I mean, are you matching your energy to this? What is being asked of you? There's a huge amount of power that's being asked of me in the next few years. I can feel that. I can feel that going into my 47th year. I can feel that going into the vibration of the 11, which we are all going to be squeezed and pulled and stretched and, you know, not manipulated but molded into who we came to be from now until January next year, probably March actually, until March next year. What can you do to ease the process? Work with it, not against it. The card at the bottom of the pack is the Three of Pentacles. Refresh. Yeah, this inner child, this wisdom of innocence and youth that is trying to be born. from everything that has been learned. This it's not a new beginning, it's a completion, it's an integration, it's a rebirth, it's a shedding, it's a remembering, it's a coming home. Yeah, underneath it all. I'm not going to shuffle the pack again. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Oh, 2 for Friday. Okay. Saturday, Sunday. Overall, yes, the other card that came up collectively was the Four of Swords, to rest, to take this time with Saturn in Aries and rest. You know, just breathe, let things settle. We're at the peak of energy in the summer, in our own, and the temptation here is to burn ourselves out. Rest, be. So much hard work has been put in. Let yourself have the fruits of that. Learn to receive. Remember how to receive. Acknowledge the importance of receptivity. Overall, actually, I've just realised the card that I was looking at was the Three of Wands, not the Three of Pentacles. So please forgive me there. The refreshing comes from transformation. It comes from moving forward. Overall, it is the Three of Pentacles with cooperation, with the energies around us and that triangle there. Many hands make light work. You know, it takes a tribe to build a village or raise a family. Call upon people that you need support from, and that doesn't always mean physically. Call upon your loved ones, call upon your ancestors. One of the things that came up for me this morning was this loyalty I have to the endurances of my ancestors. And I just thought how I wouldn't want my son to carry those endurances forward, and he hasn't. So why do I believe that I still need to do that out of honour and respect for those that have come before me? I don't. So recognising where you are being asked to let go of something and ask their help for it, and those to come, ask their help. Yeah, really connecting into the land around you, your neighbours, your community, and boots on the ground. Doesn't always have to mean what we're used to, okay? Doesn't always have to mean that we're in conflict. Doesn't have to mean that it's us and them, or we have to decide between our own needs and the needs of others. We're not separate from our environment. If our environment is strong and well, so are we. So whatever we are doing for other people, finally get used to the idea that we're doing it for ourselves too, and be okay with that. Be okay with that. Honour that, respect that, acknowledge that. Instead of this separate divide and victim mentality that potentially could come up this week. On the Monday, and it is the Monday, even though it's the Saturday today, 333, time-wise. On the Monday, time-wise, okay, yeah, so it doesn't matter where we are. Doesn't matter. One of the things I noticed this morning or this afternoon, rather than use the sun to clean my eyes like I normally do every morning, not just my eyes but my nowies, my energy centres, my body, I normally do it in the morning, but circumstances suggested that I had to do it in the afternoon. So the sun, rather than it being in the east, was actually in the south, and the energy had moved from new beginnings to just acknowledging where I am now. Having roots with where I am now. We get so caught up in where we were. A lot of reactions that are occurring aren't actually occurring from that moment, but the moments years and years and years ago that were the initial trauma or the initial belief or the initial fill in the gap, right? So on the Monday, Ace of Pentacles, connect to where you are. If you want that new beginning, get real with where you actually are. If you want things to change, be honest with the situations that aren't working or working. It works both ways. It works both ways. We can either think about what we don't want or think about what we do. Jupiter and Leo expands everything. Okay, so maybe taking the attention away from what we don't want and putting it more towards what we do on the Monday. Recognizing, this card is beautiful, recognizing our vision is what grows. Our vision is the root. There was a big shift in grounding years ago, probably about definitely post Mayan calendar change, how rooting and grounding was less in the root chakra, less in the lower aspects of our body and more in our heart. When I look at this card, what I'm seeing is the recognition that the grounding, well, it's in all of the eyes, it's in all of the energy centers, right? Our heart needs to be grounded and solid in what it feels. Our throat needs to be true to what it says. Our solar plexus needs to be connected to the joy, the wisdom, and the strength that we have. All of our energy centers, but our eyes are the windows to the soul. They need to be more grounded. How are they grounded? By looking at what is being reflected to us, by looking at what we are choosing to focus on, and ultimately what we are looking to have reflected back to us. Anything else? I keep hearing the word news, and it's not media news, it's news as in soul essence. It's news as in the energy of it all. Focus on that. Focus on that. You know, I have this habit of seeing things from so many different perspectives, and it's great. It's also avoidance sometimes. But even that, going beyond that, let's go beyond the ego perspective as well. We're not even in the ego perspective anymore. We're in the serpent. We're in Sachamama. We're in the waters. Okay, we're in the emotions. We're in the. That's what we need. That's what this earth needs more of with these fires right now is water. It needs more water. It needs more emotions. You know, it needs more openness, more psychic energy, more creative energy, more innovation. It's time we caught up with the times. There's so much technology out there that is actually advancing quicker than we are. Why? Because every vibration that's come in has yet to be embodied to the extent that it can be. How? In the mundane, in the chop wood, carry water, in the everyday life. We can talk, but if we're not doing it in our actions, it hasn't been fully integrated. It hasn't been grounded or rooted. And we'll be shown where in what we're focusing on. We'll be shown where in how we see things. We'll be shown where in what is being reflected back to us, particularly on the Monday. Interesting. Maybe I should really try and get to that wildlife centre on the Monday. You may also see where you've grown. You may also see where you've grown and what has come as a result of how you have chosen to see things. And I feel that that's nice. It's nice. I like that. It's on my birthday. On the Tuesday, we then have the Nine of Pentacles. We have satisfaction here. We have that wild. We have that wild, and we have the medicine of the rose, opening our heart to the wild. And I feel a sense of tiredness. I'm saying to my husband today, I feel tired beyond the words of tiredness. I feel as if I'm a year older. On a soul level, I feel tired, but my inner child feels tired too, from at times running the show. Which we're all capable of, shall we say. But there's a level of tiredness and a level of surrender. Where you feel tired this week, surrender, stop, pause, acknowledge where you're getting no satisfaction. Interesting, Mick Jagger's just come into my mind. There's been a big emphasis on him throughout the football games. There's been a big emphasis on him in the collective at the moment, and just being aware of that, just sending lots of love to Mick Jagger, particularly on the Tuesday. But the wild, the rose, yeah, being aware of what is being emphasized externally, but not getting caught up in it also. Otherwise, that is why we get no satisfaction. We can get so wrapped up in what is going on out there that there's always something lacking, because if we're not bringing it within and acknowledging what is going on for us, we'll always not feel part of something. Okay, so the lack of satisfaction is the lack of embodiment on the Tuesday. The Nine of Pentacles here. The rose medicine I keep coming back to, because this morning I had a conversation with my husband about, bless him, oh, they're drilling. I hope you can hear me. I'm not going to shut my window. I'm not going to shut my window. I'm not going to close out the world just because of the noise. I was speaking to my husband this morning. He has a lot of conversations thrown his way. Bless his heart. And he just sits and listens and allows me to figure out what is going on for me. He witnesses and he holds space for me. we were talking about rose medicine this morning, and how the roses have been changed so much to last longer, to look better, that they're losing their smell. Now, their smell is their pheromones, it's their attraction to bees, it's part of who they are, and they're losing that because of their image. Okay, they're losing that so that they can last a little bit longer. And I really felt the emphasis on the feminine. Beyond gender, I mean creativity, but I do also mean gender, and that's important to acknowledge as well. The pressure that is put on the feminine energy to be a certain way, particularly on the Tuesday, can lead to satisfaction or a lack of satisfaction. The roses don't have their medicine. They don't have their full medicine because of how they're made to look and how the youth needs to be maintained at all costs. On the Tuesday, feeding into the wild feminine that has had enough. Yeah, Aquarius in North Node. Yeah, this goes beyond Black Moon Lilith, who, let's face it, her orbit is conveniently shortened for our own understanding. This goes beyond all of these things. You know, when we think of our cycle, when we think of Black Moon Lilith, and we think of the cycles that we find ourselves in, how we conveniently try to logically understand them to get them over and done with. This goes beyond all of that. This is that inner wild that says when it's ready, when things are right, and trust that, or deal with the consequences. On the Tuesday with the Nine of Pentacles, the encouragement here is to recognize what we are offering, particularly when it comes to love. There's going to be a big emphasis on taking love from the romantic state, not that that isn't enough, in relationships, but also the collective, to a purpose-built state. One of the things I received this morning was how love is what stands the test of time. And I was encouraged to go a bit further. Is it love? No, it isn't love. It's soul essence. It's the nous. N-O-U-S stands the test of time. Everything has a soul. Whether that is the company you find yourself in, the home that you live, the job that you're trying to get, the child that you're trying to conceive, all of it has a soul that stands the test of time here. So ensuring that we are in a space that is willing to offer that, to wait for that, to recognize the worth of that and our own. That's satisfaction. There's a big difference between success and satisfaction. 37 minutes. On the Wednesday, we then have the Page of Pentacles, which is honesty. I love this because this is the honesty egg, all those pretty eggs all around it. And it's difficult. It is difficult to focus. It is difficult to look at what we are offering, to look at how grounded we are when there is so much going on around us, when there are so many distractions around us, all these sparkly pretty things, all of these not pretty things, all of these things that make us wonder if we're enough. Are we doing enough on the global scale? Are we seen enough? Are we providing enough? Are we all of these things, you know, with the barbell basket, the sun and moon are going to be going into there as well. So we're really going to be called to look at where we don't feel enough, where we have perhaps put all of our eggs in one basket, where we are being encouraged to come back and get honest to who we are amidst all of this, our own soul essence. And from there to look at things that aren't quote unquote working as we would like them to be, and perhaps accept that they never were going to, because they're not who we are and what we're here to offer. They may be our version of it, but they're not who we are and what we are here to offer. I was again saying to my husband this morning, this is all on a Saturday, bless his heart, saying to my husband this morning, there's a lot of Leo women in my life, and they all have, just like myself, traits that I adore, traits that I don't, just like myself, just like the world around me. And I'm in this place, whether it's because I'm going through my own transitions in womanhood, or whether it's because I'm about to get a year older, or whether it's because I'm feeling the vibration change, whatever. It's growth, right? And I'm in this place of thinking I'm not like anybody else, but there are bits that I like about everything. Now, years ago, I would have become one of them. I would have molded to my environment. I would have adapted initially from safety, and then just from being able to shapeshift and be a chameleon, people pleaser, whatever name you want to give it. But it was also a gift. It's part of my empathic approach. It's also a gift. However, it's not sustainable, right? So this morning, really feeling into that, we can like all of these things, we can appreciate and be in awe of what is going on around us, but if we're worshipping something more than ourselves, or trying to be something that we're not in order to fit in or find our place, that's not the emphasis here this week. It's not about being like everybody else, but recognizing the reflections in others that remind you who you are and what you then want to create as a result. On the Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, we have the 10 of Cups. We have gratitude. Is that the full moon? No, the Wednesday is the full moon, isn't it? Tuesday, Wednesday, yes. So a day after the full moon. So Jupiter has gone into the center of the sun. Jupiter and Leo, you know, Mercury's now forward. We've had the full moon in Aquarius and the North Node. There's so many things going on. With that moon, yeah, it's expanding us. It is saying look up. It is saying open up. It is saying be ready to receive from a place of gratitude. To recognize where we've downplayed the energy of gratitude as well. Thank you, thank you, thank you. That's not gratitude. That's not humility. It's been very confused over the decades I've seen lately. Yeah, for as long as I can remember, gratitude has been humility has been confused with a lower energy. Humility means to be of the soil. Humility means to be of something bigger than ourselves, but to acknowledge ourselves within it. Okay, so these energies around us aren't here to make us feel small and interesting. So we may see energies coming in from other, I'm just going to say it, galaxies in particular around this full moon. And it's not about making us feel small. It's not about making us as a species feel unworthy or anything like that. This is about reflecting where we've come from. One of the things I had to decide with this video was whether or not the focus was going to be more on me or my background. Whether or not it was finally going to be more, which happens to end up being more on my chest, more on my heart space, more on my face and who I am than my background. Behind me I have Mary Magdalene. So the focus is more on allowing us to be seen by ourselves. Not just what we've been through, not just our endurances, not just our past. This isn't about seeing ourselves small, particularly on the Thursday, but having gratitude for who we are, including ourselves in the cooperation that it has taken to get to the place that we have found ourselves in. We're not separate from what we create. We really need to get over that collectively as a species. On the Friday we have two cards. We have the Page of Wands and the Knight of Wands. We have self-expression and intention. Now look, I mean gosh, these cards are so beautiful. Self-expression here, movement, dance, going with the flow, creating with it artistically, artistically, doing something different. Yes, things may not be working out how we want, so try something else. What did you always want to do? I'm so, absolutely so blessed that most things that I do, whether it's blowing into stones or creating with herbs or talking to animals, I did as a child, you know, and that's what gives me that satisfaction. Coming back to something beyond age. What has run throughout your life that you've enjoyed doing? That is an expression of you, of your news, of your soul. It may not make sense logically. It may not fit into your 5-year plan, but it's you. Now tap back into that energy. You don't even have to do, I mean, I would recommend that you do, but you don't even have to do what it is you've wanted to do, but tap into the energy of it. Tap into the energy of what you feel like when you are in your fullest expression of self. And from there, these cards have come up together. From there, on the Friday, intention. The Knight of Wands. See that rose? From the Satisfaction card, from the Nine of Pentacles. Take what abundance feels like. Embody that. Really embody that, and then create 4422. Then create your intention. This is the fire horse year. Do not forget that. Do not forget that it isn't just about destruction and fire or transformation. It is about forward movement. I really feel that. Okay. Horses have carried mankind throughout time to their next stage of evolution. This is about movement. Does your expression, does your creativity, does what you offer give you movement? Dance, change, shifts in your relationships. Or on the Saturday, Page of Swords, scrutiny. Do you end up in these mental loops with how you see things, that perception? Yeah, coming back to the Monday, looking at how our perception is what grounds the reality we find ourselves in, and start scrutinizing it. Start questioning. It is a start, it's the page, okay? So you don't have to run ahead. If you run ahead, there's a high chance you're going to get a little bit apathetic with where you find yourself on the Sunday with the Four of Cups. So just start scrutinizing where you are, the loops that you've mentally found yourself in. What are they creating? And some are creating something without being seen. Okay, so some are creating, it's not that the cycles that you find yourself in are a negative thing. Time is a cycle, it's not linear. Okay, so anything that you find yourself repeating, it isn't a negative thing per se. It's just not being seen for its fullest. It's not being scrutinized from the energy of the soul, from the news, from the whole picture here in the present moment. It's one thing to see what could happen. That's great. That's, it's one thing to see everything playing out. That's the eagle perspective. That's absolutely amazing. But we move around the medicine wheel. What do we do with it? What needs healing? What needs shifting in this present moment with the serpent, with the waters, with the emotions? Start really questioning what is going on for you. Not by analysing it, letting yourself feel it, because the over-analysing, could result in detachment from the emotions that are going to shift you forward. Emotions, what we feel is water. What does water do? It moves. And if our emotions aren't being expressed, if our emotions aren't allowed to create or be put into something, they get stagnant. We get dry. We get frozen. We get too much creative energy coming in, like the fires around us, and without that water, too much data collection. I have Mars and Gemini, which is the other thing that is coming up astrologically, the Nine of Swords. Mars and Gemini, that constant, oh my god, what about this, what about that? Getting lots of data, getting lots of data, getting lots of data. Thank you, Adele. If you get lots of data, what are you going to do with that? Bring it down, embody it, use it, utilize it. There is obviously the emphasis on data centers in the risk of climate change as well. It's not that you can't find this information. There's no judgment, at least on my part there, but why are you finding this information? Are you using it, or are we collectively just take again with things like advanced technology? What is that doing to our perception? What is that doing to our emotions? What is that doing to our connection, to our bodies? Yes, our connection to the earth, of course, but you can't connect to the earth if you're not connected to the body that walks it. It's not possible. You can connect to the earth on a spiritual level, you can connect to the earth on a mental level or an emotional level, but all of them require a connection to the body. The body is the feminine. The spirit is the masculine, the body is the feminine, the soul, the news, the potential needs the body, it needs the feminine, okay? On the Sunday we have the Four of Cups. We have that apathetic energy, we have that being frozen over or defrosting, however you wish to experience what is going on, and that's the key. We can see something as, oh God, I can't believe this has happened again. And look, that's how it starts. That's the invitation, right? Or we can carry on the process, acknowledge that emotions are a process, and start to see what is being unveiled, unraveled, unfurled as a result of what is happening. It could be your worth. You could be in a situation where you think, I can't believe this is happening again. Okay, why would it be happening again? What's happening again? What's underneath it? What is being spoken to you intuitively in the environments that you find yourself? I know I'm avoiding my power. I know there are a lot of narratives around that, and I know that I could sit with that and nothing changes, and then ultimately I'm the one avoiding my power. By the end of the week, there comes a chance to take, well, there's always a chance to take responsibility, but to take more responsibility, to transform what is going on by recognizing we are part of it. You know, not growing up, but glowing up, stepping into that vibration that is going to take us into the 11th year. I'm going to leave it there. Take care, and I shall see you next week.